Hello everyone, it's me Evan. Welcome back to the channel. So today, the Automatons update came out. Quite a cool update. And it added a lot of stuff. Now, this I'm going to be including stuff from both the DLC and the actual stuff present in the base update. So, yeah, let's just start going. So this part is, I think, accessible only in DLC, but these are the panels, these access panels here. These are super cool. Mostly because they're not just fancy greebling, and they do in fact occupy this block of space, which is a little unfortunate, but again, it is what it is. So here, check this out. It opens, it's an animated block that opens and closes when you use it. And then you've got like a little terminal access right there. Alright? This one, similar, opens the other way. Does not have, you can walk through the door by the way. It does not have the little panel in there, however. It also, it's just got nice greebling in there. So it's just one of those things. Looks really cool, looks really nice. Really great for interior detail. Now this one's probably got to be my favorite because you open this panel and there's a button. This is something that is really cool because look, you can't press the button unless you open it. So you can kind of use this for things that you want to not accidentally activate. You know, like let's say you have a self-destruct sequence on your ship. And you really don't want to have that be pushed accidentally. So you hide it or something in this box, right? Then you can click it. Just super cool. And this is my second favorite of the panels. This little opening. Alright. So this can go onto containers. Yeah, so you can close up your containers. Technically, you can still access it from the side, but then you can look in there. This also fits on the end of most conveyors. Oh, a little freeze there. Sorry about that. So, yeah, super cool. We've got some new interior wall stuff. So this one has little bars on it. This one does not. You can see it looks pretty nice. You're probably supposed to use it the other way around, but yeah. We've got an integrated light. So this is just a solid block. You can see it breaks pretty easily, but that's certainly got more durability than a normal light. Again, not like, this is not armor, but it'll work. More interior stuff, this time piping, which looks quite nice. This one looks a little more tucked away, and it's got these little panels on the sides here. And then we get to the air vents. So this is the normal, original air vent, and then we've got this new one. Looks quite nice. It's animated. Looks very cool. And then we've got these two, which have connections on all sides of them. Very nice. Very handy. This is going to be much easier to integrate into ships' interiors, especially when you don't have a lot of space. If you've got any basically wall that is also a conveyor, you can swap it out for one of these and it'll do really well. And it's actually got, it looks like a fair bit of durability too, considering how many steel plates are in it. It's actually more than light armor, so let's see. 8 rounds. Yeah, let's see. It's still working. Versus, yeah, it's got more durability than light armor. So that's pretty nice. Next we come to the programmable block here. You can see it's a walk-in programmable block. Another one of those blocks where you can actually walk inside of it. I love these. They're so nice. And it's got all these little server racks, 2 access terminals here. I'm assuming you probably can, yep, you can You can do text, scripts, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, see that? Look at that. Very nice. We've got our timer block. Mostly just decorative. It's not really a huge thing. If we just go to time, you can see it's not... It looks nice, but it's not like... It's not crazy. No, it's mostly just an aesthetic change. And then we got this block, the emotion controller, which sounds a bit like something you would call your ex, but if we scroll all the way down here, we've got all these different things we could select here. Shocked, sleepy, suspicious. A wink. Yeah. We'll just leave them here like that. Alright, so we got these blocks here, and these are what gives automatons its name. We've got some new controlling blocks for grids. So here we got our defensive block, which basically, or offensive, sorry. You've got the choice between the smallest, largest, or closest target. This is a reacquiring thing. I usually turn this down to like 20, seems to be pretty good. This is a little iffy because people with propulsion can still be dangerous. Like, a lot of people would think, oh, let's set it to weapons. Yeah, but now you've got someone who has no weapons, and your ships aren't going to shoot at him. This also means that if a missile is coming in, like a kinetic missile, it's not going to get targeted by these ships. So I would set this to default or propulsion, because if someone doesn't have propulsion, at that point they really can't fight. These things, this right here, intercept, this is basically your missile, like your guided missile AI setting here. And then you'd want to, of course, do target prediction. Right, hit and run tries to fly past your target and break off at an angle, or either fly past it or turn away from it at a certain distance. Pretty straightforward. Stay at range, probably one of your better ones. Evasive maneuvers. I've found this doesn't really work that well. It's a little clunky. And then circle orbit. And this one also, it can align to P gravity, so there you go. Now we've got the defensive one here. This basically is the runaway. Yeah. Basically, as soon as this thing detects an enemy, it can either just run. As soon as it takes damage, it can run. Or when the target is locked, it can run. Or when the... Yeah, like when someone else target locks it. No option for friendlies there, which is interesting. You'd think that thered be some utility in that, but oh well. Alright, so we got the AI flight module. Behavior collision avoidance. It does not work great. I don't think it has a very much prediction in the intercepting of things. So that often doesn't work. And especially if you've got like a longer ship, it'll swing into things a lot of the time. Speed limit, either fast for hopefully going fast, although they seem to have a little bit of a hard time really putting the pedal down. And then slow, of course, for like your more civilian purposes, your mining ships, your whatnot. Pitch angles and roll angles are basically just to let you keep the grid sort of aligned on a planet so that your powerful downwards thrust is actually facing into the gravity rather than pointing to the side, causing you to fall out of the sky. And that's pretty much it for the flight mode, or the flight module there. Yeah, let's look at the basic task here. We've got follow home, follow player, and autopilot. Autopilot operates basically like the old remote control in terms of like waypoints and stuff. Follow player follows you when you click this button, but only when you click that button. It won't just follow you by default. Follow home will follow beacons around, and you can set a min-max range from that. This is basically your fleet organization thing, but it's kind of dicey. They tend to crash into each other and all kinds of stuff because the collision avoidance isn't great. Final one here is our flight recorder. This basically will record a set of waypoints and actions that you do while it's active, and then we'll replay that either in reverse, right, or we'll play that forward to, well, to cause the action to be repeated. This can be useful for like scripting events and stuff like that, making like cinematics, but it can also be useful for like setting up different routes and stuff that are a little more complicated than get from point A to point B, like you would use with the direct point-to-point AI mode. I've got a little example here of the AI circling this target. You can see here it's pointed at the target there, and you can see with that I'm basically only using these two here, right? Your flight mode, your basic flight module, and then one offensive module. So if we just brought out this ship in forever. Oh wait, now we're going this way. This is a bit of a weird ship. That's a bit of an empty ship. I built this a long time ago. Anyway, you can see, oh, that's our downwards facing camera. You can see we're basically pointed right at that little SBRT beacon, and we're moving sideways as we go in an orbit, because currently the new blocks here is set to the orbital setting. Or no, it's set to the stay at range setting, but it's also executing evasive maneuvers. So if we switch this to the circle orbit setting, set the distance to, let's go with 200, right? It will continue to point us at the target as it begins to slowly orbit us around it. I wish the orbiting speed was a little bit faster, but here we are, you know. I don't even know which way it wants to orbit. I don't use this mode very much. It seems to not do its job super well, because it just kind of changes its mind on where it wants to go frequently. So yeah, and then let's see here, what's our other flight modes we want? Offensive, if we go for hit and run, you can see it kind of, let's set our breakoff distance to be like 200. There. And then retreat angle. Let's turn it down a bit so that it's not quite so jarring. Yeah, you can see we're coming towards the target, and then when we hit that distance, theoretically, we will now retreat away. Yeah, so see how it's pointing up the nose and then it just boosts away? This is one of those examples where the grid's definitely not unenthusiastic about turning. It's probably the most active targeting mode in terms of like the grid actually doing something. Right? This is a good one for fighters and more nimble ships, whereas the keep distance ones are probably a lot more ideal for you know, your larger ships, your capital ships, stuff you don't want to endanger in a close range punching match. Right. Now that you've seen it do a couple little passes, let's give it the final hurrah here and move on to our final and, in my opinion, most interesting setting here, the intercept settings. Because the intercept is a direct collision course. If we turn on target prediction, it will also try and lead the target. So let's just watch this. Oh yeah. And just like that, the target has been annihilated. Now with a big ship like this, obviously you probably don't want to throw it away as a missile. But, you know, with something that is an actual missile, this can be quite useful. Let's just continue on looking at the blocks here. We've got a brand new sensor. It's very low profile. Basically don't even see it. It's pretty small. And then a new camera. Now this camera, let's just see it at another angle here. It's very low profile and it looks that way. So if I were to get a chair and look for cameras, probably this one, you can see it's like super low, but you get this very low profile camera that can be mounted on the side of things rather than on the front of things. I think this will be very helpful for improving the survivability of cameras in this game, because when you can put them on the side of something, they're much less likely to get hit than when you put them on the front. So no more like armoring your cameras, just put a couple on the sides and they'll probably be able to get through a lot more easily than ones that were armored before, or just on the front, exposed even. Anyway, moving on, we've got a brand new little thing, the conveyor cap. Looks very snazzy. We've got, of course, a beautiful looking one for the circular thing, and obviously this can be used for much more. I mean, it looks like a hatch of some kind, really, so I think you could use that for a lot of stuff. Give things a more naval look and feel. Like if you working on something that wants to look like a submarine, this would be a great hatch. Like a great look for a hatch. We've got a bigger one for the full-size conveyors here. Very cool stuff. If we go over here, we've got the 2x2 wheels. You can see they're not very big. I think we need smaller suspension units, but that's beside the point. These 2x2 wheels are just a nice intermediate between the 3x3 and the 1x1s. We've got some brand new little warning panels here. Automated turrets. We've worked 0 days without a clang incident. Yeah, no kidding. Storage area. Explosives. That's actually a nice one to have. Authorized personnel. Medical. Landing area. No atmosphere. Construction site. 0G zone. Airlock mechanism. hazardous environment. Yeah, pretty nice. I really like this one. I think is one of my favorites. I feel like it really says a lot about the game. So I think my favorites are this one, and probably just this standard boilerplate explosives warning, because that's something seems like it would be applicable to a lot of builds in Space Engineers. We've got a brand new cockpit type for small grid. Check this out. It is like this bike look. Like you actually are like riding it. Very cool. It's going to be really cool for like little speeders and stuff like that. I can actually get a better look at this. Dude's like hunched over and everything. Yeah, you can see. Looks very cool. It's got a little bit of conveyor access through the larger one, which is I believe a 3x3 hitbox, yeah. And then the smaller one has a 2x3 hitbox here. Very cool. Small grid versions of the full block, air vents, which is very cool. And then of course the little guy there. I think these are animated when they're powered. Yeah, the small grid ones are also animated. Very cool. One of the other cool things is the Willis ducts. As you can see, we can sort of crouch down, squeeze our way through. They've got rises and different kinds. This one is actually a grate you can look through. When you walk, it kind of puts your head up through it a little bit, which is a bit funky, but yes, you can see this grate here. And if we go through this way, really can't third person in here. You can see we've got some of these grates here that kind of block the access. But if you wanted to use this as an air vent system, have a couple central air vents and then have this piping that goes out to the rest of the ship or station, this would work really well. I really want there to be some xenomorph mods or something to be able to use these, because that would be extremely cool. But alas, here we are. You can see we've got this. All these textures look super nice and pretty consistent with the existing aesthetic style. You can see we've got an L-bend here, which has a pipe running through it here. One thing I was hoping for these was that it would have conveyor, like these would be actually usable as conveyors, but unfortunately it does not appear that way. But yeah, so we've got a T section here, and of course back here you saw the four-way. One of the final things that got added, it's super nice, it's super cool. Oh, they're all gone. Oh, 1 second. Alright. Look at this. Lots of brand new little spider plushies. They're just adorable. I've got one component, that being a spider plushie. Very easy to, ooh, that lagged. It's fairly easy to exterminate the spider infestation. Not that you would want to, but they would you. Yeah, you can see they're cute. They're cute little guys. Like, just look at him. I mean, just look at him. Very cute. not at all like his big earthen counterpart. That little texturing underneath. It's super fun. One of my favorites actually is that the locking was now changed to focus target, and it's toggleable. So you don't have to have two things in your hotbar anymore. So let's say I put down. Do I have a weapon anywhere in here? No, I don't. Let's change that. So let's say I wanted to put down a turret, right? So you can see, focus locked target. That is an on-off thing. That is toggleable, which is really cool. Also, whenever a turret is unable to see a target that it is locked, it will engage other targets at its own discretion, which is quite nice. And yeah, so that's one of the other cool things that got added for that. So lots of interior stuff to work with, lots of new cool looking blocks. You know, lots of fun things to do, and a lot of things to experiment with for the actual AI stuff, because I don't know how to use most of it, but I'm sure you guys will all figure it out, and it's going to be super powerful in terms of what it does for us as players. So yeah, I think I'll cap off the video here. You've seen all the stuff. I think it's pretty cool, and I hope you do too. It's only $5 for the DLC, so it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good deal, I think, because you're getting a lot of really cool aesthetic pieces and some fairly functional pieces, like the little button panel there. So yeah, hope you guys all have a good day, and I will see you later.